Hey everyone, this is Michael. Welcome to the Round Number One podcast. So I'd like to follow up with my upload on Monday in talking about AEW Collision. I said that AEW did some things which I found big league in last week's debut show, and I'll discuss them today. Now, before I get into that, let me just preface by saying this, and this is all my opinion. Now, in an industry, when a business is considered a number two, in my opinion, that means that you offer something that's different, but is not inferior. Now, when it comes to AEW, because they found themselves on TNT from the very, very start, people have considered them as a number two. In my opinion, the comparison between AEW and WWE is that they they both produce a somewhat wrestling based product, but they are different in a sense. But I find I found AEW to be inferior to WWE. And what I found out about this Collision program, they actually did some stuff to make them seem, for once in like, since the existence of AEW, which is I believe is going on either a 3 or 4 year company. I don't even remember. I've watched AEW since the beginning. I don't even remember if this company is a 3 year old or 4 year old company. But they finally did something that people can consider them as a number two and see AEW as not inferior to WWE. And I saw it on this Collision show. And the first thing I saw that was a major improvement for the broadcast and production of AEW is the fantastic new AEW Collision set. Definitely something that is different from the WWE looking. I want to compare the WWE its new setup to look something like it's like an IMAX base, large format screen base. This AEW Collision set is it looked something like, it looked humongous. It looked like something. It looked something like the WWE set, but obviously it was made up of different LED panels compared to that one solid screen set as the WWE. And when I saw that, it like automatically made AEW look big league. So the one thing I hate about AEW from the very beginning is that they had that inferior look. They debuted it on TNT, getting paid something like, I believe, maybe something like $40 million or $45 million. They were getting paid annually by WBD to have Dynamite on TNT. They came out with like a set that was very, very similar to the TNA Impact set, which automatically it made them look inferior to a company that is supposed to be perceived as a number two. And throughout the years, that set has remained. And most recently, I believe it was last January, or was it this January? I don't even remember. They had a new set change, and this new set change, interestingly enough, came along when with a new hiring to AEW, which was the former WWE VP of Global Television Production, Mike Mansuri. So they debuted this new set on Dynamite, which also followed up on Rampage. And it was an improvement of a set, but in my opinion, it still made them look inferior to WWE. They came out with a set that looked like something that I would see in a WWE house show. Nothing comparable to what we see on the main WWE programming, such as Raw or SmackDown. Now, with this Collision set, finally they have finally they have a set and television graphics that look that look gives them, it's a positive step in the right way of not looking inferior to the WWE television production. Now, the second thing I thought was big league about this show is the announce team. So we're dropping from the sometimes 3 or 4 person announce team to a 2-person announce team. I always found that the AEW announce team, I found it very cluttered. I found it very noisy. Noisy and cluttered is what I found this AEW announce team before Collision. And that is another thing I found inferior. I think if you're going to go announcing, the best is a 2-person team. And we had Kevin Kelly, who was the voice of New Japan. And then you had Nigel McGuinness, who was the voice of ROH. Formerly, I believe he was the NXT UK television announcer. So that was an improvement. And, I was really happy not to see Excalibur on Collision. And you know what? I'll just say this thing about Excalibur. And, people might get mad at me saying this, but, I really don't like Excalibur. He just doesn't look big league to me to be an announcer for a $50 million annually programming on Turner Networks. This guy, he wears a lucha mask, which I find ridiculous. And let me give you a background on this Excalibur guy. He is one of the 8 or 6 founders of PWG. He wears a mask. I think on Chris Van Fleet, he explained why he wears the mask. But for a guy who was running this PWG, and or I think I'm not sure if he sold his position in PWG, but he's still involved. He's a founder of PWG, and he's still involved with PWG. I mean, for this guy to wear that lucha mask, and he's been shown on tape, using racial slurs against black people, using racial slurs against Latinos to generate heat for his indie PWG show. For him to wear that lucha mask and to continue wearing that lucha mask, I find it's ridiculous. You make fun of the Latino culture, make fun of the black culture, take off your damn lucha mask. You're on friggin' nationwide TV. You're working for a company that is making $40 million a year annually, that is rumored to be getting a $1 billion 5-year deal the next couple of years. Take off that damn mask and, act big league. WWE has this big league feel. AEW tends to have this indie league feel, which they can't seem to shake off. And, part of the blame of this indie league feel is partly on the feet of Tony Khan. So yeah, big league number 2 thing, making that 2-person announce team and not having Excalibur on there. And one more thing about Excalibur, I'm not saying he's not a bad announcer. He's a good announcer. He needs to lose the mask. He needs to look big league. But, this guy is soft. I think a lot of the complaints with Excalibur, he does a lot of shouting. He does a lot of speed talking. I don't blame this on Excalibur. I blame this more so on Tony Khan getting in his ear. And, I'm watching this, it seems like Excalibur to be a lead announcer and, to have your boss shouting in your ear and telling you to speed talk like a million different things in under 1 minute, making you seem like a person that's on Adderall to the viewers is crazy, you know? Like, you're a lead announcer, like, you know, step up and tell Tony Khan, you know, hey, stop making me look and seem ridiculous, you know? Like, these stuff, you know, he can't do to Kevin Kelly, because Kevin Kelly doesn't need an AEW. He already has a job with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Nigel McGuinness, you know, he's a great announcer. You know, he doesn't need AEW at all. I'm pretty sure if he wanted his job back at WWE, they'll give him a announcing job back at WWE. Now, the third and last thing, which I found impressive, which I found big league about this AEW Collision show, is it made a lot of the AEW talent that unfortunately weren't booked well by Tony Khan look like bigger figures, such as Jay White. Jay White, most famously, he spent a lot of time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's become the heavyweight champion on numerous occasions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, I think he's destined to become a single star in AEW, but it's not his time yet to become a single star in AEW. And when he arrived in AEW, Tony Khan was trying to perceive him as a single star. What I liked what this show did is that they teamed him up with Juice Robinson, who, in my opinion, he's not a bad wrestler. Juice Robinson is probably one of the great hires to AEW. I think Juice Robinson's fantastic. I think Jay White is fantastic, but I don't think it's his time to become a single star yet. One day it will be his time to become a single star in AEW, but to have them as a tag team against FTR and CM Punk, and to include Samoa Joe as a tag team partner, Jay White and Juice Robinson, you know, it just made them look big league, in my opinion. And you know, to have that tag team of Juice Robinson and Jay White, that's the thing to go. That's the right path for Jay White and Juice Robinson right now in AEW. And to have them, you know, I said on Monday's show that, you know, coming into the show and coming out of the show, AEW hasn't given me a reason to tune into the next show. And they really didn't. I mean, we didn't even have like a lineup for what is showing. We don't even have a lineup of what is going to happen on the next episode of Collision, you know? So, but I think one thing from now, from today, I'll say the only thing to look forward to, especially on this Collision show, is hopefully we get an FTR and a or I should say Bullet Club Gold feud for the AEW tag team titles. That's the right direction that Juice Robinson and Jay White need to be in against FTR. They look like very strong and exciting contenders for the AEW tag team championship. So hopefully those two groups become a feature on AEW Collision. And also CM Punk and Samoa Joe. I was kind of against the thought of maybe Joe and Punk going to the feud, but I'll tell you what, man, I haven't seen Samoa Joe, like, he just looked rejuvenated on the AEW Collision program, you know? And man, I think I'm definitely in the crowd of seeing more of so I say AJ Styles, seeing more of Samoa Joe and CM Punk in the future on AEW Collision. So, you know, that's all I gotta say in terms of this show being big league.